Who'll win the Battle of Ports number 3? Trader Joe's or Costco? Stick around and find out.
Welcome everyone, I'm Anthony, the Eclectic Chef. And today, welcome back to my wine lab and a Happy New Year to you all. This is our third annual Costco versus Trader Joe's 10-year Tawny Port contest. The series is even as I speak, but it's Costco versus Trader Joe's Porto Morgado. Taste test follows this. Following that, and I'd encourage you to stick around, I've got a little bit of a discussion on some other similar ports I'm going to throw into a taste test when I'm at the UK Wine Lab in about 5 or 6 weeks. So thanks for watching. If you appreciate this type of content, please like and subscribe. And one thing, in the test, I tell you that the Trader Joe's Porto Morgado had gone up by $1 to $13.99. That was a mistake. It's still only $12.99. The Costco is still $17.99. So there's a $5 price difference between the two. But they're both great daily drinkers. Stick around, enjoy the test and the commentary. So folks, here we go with our Year 3 Battle of Ports. Trader Joe's Porto Morgado versus Kirtland's Tawny. Both 10 years old, both with a guarantee sticker, which we've talked about a little before. So let's get into the test. Price differences narrowed a bit. Kirtland is still $17.99. Porto Morgado, unless I'm horribly mistaken, has gone up to $13.99. So we've got a $4 difference in US terms. I know my UK viewers can buy the Kirtland Tawny Port. I don't think they see the Porto Morgado, although we'll see what they might find at Aldi in the UK, because I know So Grape makes a port for Aldi. Anyway, so appearance. I've commented on this before. You won't see it. I probably should put a candle or something so you can see, but the Porto Morgado here, I hope you like my aerating glasses to increase the nose and the flavour, is definitely lighter than the Kirtland Tawny. Still brown, they're Tawnies. The one thing we haven't talked about this before is one of the advantages of Tawnies is they're pretty much oxidised by the time you buy the bottle. So they'll stand being left for a while. You don't have to drink them all at once. That is not true of ruby ports, which have been aged in the bottle and need to be drunk once opened. Okay, let's try the sniff test. Quite the astringent note this year from the Porto Morgado. Fruit, I would almost say strawberries if I had to. Back there, it's not particularly soft nose, I have to say. And although it may not mean anything, some legs forming, not outrageously. So let's have a look at the Kirtland. Lighter nose actually, less astringent. Again, fruity, more plum than berry. Again, not a massive nose, but we'll see. And as for legs, well, yes, we got good legs forming there for those who are interested in that. So let's try a taste. We'll start with the Porto Morgado. Soft taste, very easy drinking, certainly a good daily drinker, especially at this price. The flavour doesn't hang around that much though, I have to say. If you go back and look at my test of or review of the Kopka 10-year Tawny. You'll see my comments there on how long the taste hangs around and what, to me, that says about the quality of the wine. So let's see how this Tawny Port from Kirtland tastes. Not astringent at all. Again, it's not an overpowering taste. I'm going to try a second sip of a couple of these. Let's just see. I can't find much to say about that, quite honestly. It's pleasant. As I said, low in tannins this year. Let me try another sip of this. You folks are going to think this is a cop-out this year, as the series is running 1-1 at the moment. But this year it's just about a draw, honestly. Given the $4 price difference, I'd have to, if I had to stick my hand up, I'd say it's Porto Morgado. But if you're looking for a daily drinker 10-year Tawny Port, you'd be happy with either of these. So I have to say, I can't give this to anyone but with a quick nod to the Porto Morgado, which surprises me, honestly. I really thought the Kirtland Tawny would knock this one out of the box this year, but they didn't. So thanks for watching. Hope you found this instructive. In the intro, you'll see we talked about some further tests we're going to do once we get to our UK wine lab. Take care, folks, and let's all have a great day in our wine labs. Hello, everyone. Well, by now you've seen the intro, seen the test. And you'll know we've ended up with that most un-American of things, a draw. If we were making this determination based just on nose, appearance and taste. But frankly, this year, I really don't think we can ignore the fact that one of these, the Porto Morgado, costs $5 less than the other, which is a significant percentage. So this year, based on the price differential, I'm going to give the nod to Trader Joe's Porto Morgado. Now, I drink these fairly frequently, and it may be I've just become inured to the taste differences between them. I'd really suggest you go and look at my review of Taylor's 20-year Tawny, where I have a discussion about how palates differ across individuals and specifically across the sexes. You can also find it in my playlist on ports, but I think it's worth reviewing if you have an interest. Now let's talk about this. So Great Vinhos SA is the main operating entity of the So Great Group in Portugal, handling production for many of their wines, including ports. The Porto Morgado label comes from the historic Morgado and Silva port firm, which was acquired in 1955, led by a consortium led by A.A. Ferreira, now Porto Ferreira, a So Great subsidiary. So Great fully acquired Ferreira in 1987, incorporating the brand into their portfolio. For the Trader Joe's edition, it's a private label blend made specifically for retailers like Trader Joe's and Aldi. Draws from entry-level ports across So Great's port houses, such as Offaly, Sandeman and Ferreira, to keep costs low while maintaining quality. Labels on bottles consistently credit So Great Vinhos as the bottler, based in Vila Nova de Gaia, Portugal. Now, this Kirtland signature 10-year Tawny Port sold at Costco is said to be produced by Fonseca, which is part of the Flatgate Partnership, also known as Taylor Flatgate Group in the US. This is confirmed across multiple wine review sites and publications, with details often drawn directly from the bottle's back label, which references the world-renowned winemaking team at Fonseca as the creators of this blend. The wording's actually very specific. What it says is, the world-renowned winemaking team at Fonseca have drawn port upon a reserve of rich and mellow wines to blend this sumptuous Tawny Port, blah blah blah. So that tells me is this may not necessarily be Fonseca Port. It may be very much like this Porto Morgado, and it may be a blend of ports drawn from the many port houses within the Taylor Fladgate group. There might be some Fonseca in there, but I'd be amazed if it were 100% a Fonseca made product. Anyway, it's not a bad port, it's a good port. They both are for the price. The wine's a private label offering made specifically for Costco, using the blend aged in oak casks, as is all 10-year Tawny Ports, and sold both here in the US and in the UK at Costco warehouses. Now, you heard the reference to Aldi in this discussion of the Porto Morgado. I could not find any 10-year Tawny Port, or any Tawny Port frankly, at Aldi's here in the US. However, I'll be in the English Wine Lab in a few weeks, and I will make a foray to the local Aldi store to see if they have a similar product. Now, I won't have Trader Joe's port there, but I will have Kirtland port, because they do sell it at Costco in the UK, and it's more widely available there during the year. If there is an Aldi Tawny, 10-year Tawny, I'll buy a bottle. Won't have a side-by-side with this, but we'll throw it in a comparison. I'm also going to introduce my English port benchmark, Morrison's 10-year Tawny Port, which is a Symington Group product, which is surprisingly good for the price. We'll see how they stack up. And lastly, I may go to Majestic Wines and buy a bottle of Croft 10-year Tawny, which frankly was a little light for my tastes. You'll find a test in our port playlist if you're interested. But as I mentioned last year, some of the tastes of this Kirtland port remind me of Croft port, and I have a suspicion some Croft ports may be finding their way into the blend for this Kirtland product. I don't know, it's just my musing on the subject, but at the end of the day, let's get back to the test. These are both excellent daily drinkers, whichever it's easier for you to access and easier on your budget to acquire. With that, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the content, I'd suggest you take a look at our playlist on ports, but also it would help me enormously if you would like this video and possibly subscribe. Sharing it with your friends would be great too. But with that, let's all have a great day in our wine labs, and I'll see you back here soon.